Hello beautiful people and welcome back to another video. My name is Sakshi Patel and I'm 5th year PharmD student. As a part of my ongoing series on scope of PharmD, today we would be discussing about scope of PharmD in clinical research. Also make sure that you have checked out other videos of this series. We would be starting with what is clinical research, and also then we would be jumping into roles and responsibilities of a PharmD graduate working in clinical research. Clinical research pharmacists, they play a vital role in conducting studies to evaluate the safety, efficacy and optimal use of medications. They work in various settings including academic institutions, pharmaceutical companies, contract research organizations which is CROs, and healthcare facilities. Roles and responsibilities: study design, collaborating with researchers to design clinical trials, including determining appropriate study endpoints, patient populations and medication interventions. So here you might also have a role as an investigator. What an investigator does is that he or she has to, the sponsor has to draft the protocol and give it to the investigator. Protocol is basically designing clinical trials. It has everything. It has the clinical trial number, title, what kind of drug or molecule which has to be tested, also whether it would be a multi-center trial or it would be conducted at a single center. Multi-center means one, for example, one center for the clinical trial is in Ludhiana, one is in Kerala, some other one is in Andhra Pradesh, one is in Assam, one is in Gujarat, like that. So that would be multi-center trial. So whether it has to be multi-center trial or not, each and every aspect of trial, like how much, what would be the population size or sample size that has to be collected, what kind of sample has to be collected from each and every patient or participant, what timing the sample has to be collected, how much of the sample has to be collected, what to do if the patient is unwilling to give a sample or not able to give a sample. All of that, it comes in protocol. So that is what study design. So that might be one of your role, that is designing the protocol. Selecting patient population, that is what I told you, that determining how much participants you will need, whether you will need 203 participants or 30 participants, like that. Determining appropriate study endpoints, that is at what point you would say that okay, the study has completed, now we can obtain analyzable results or results that can produce some good results. Did that make sense? Okay, so that would be one of your roles. Endpoints, they can be primary or secondary objectives. For example, primary objective could be assessing the risk factors and pharmacoeconomic evaluation in diabetic nephropathy patients, and then the secondary objectives, they can be determining whether males are more prone to diabetic kidney disease DKD more than females, which what kind of social history is most prevalent, what kind of comorbidities most linked to developing DKD, etc. Medication interventions, I think that you are. Second is regulatory compliance, ensuring compliance with the regulatory requirements, ethical standards governing human subjects research, such as obtaining institutional review board approval, that is IRB approval. Now when you are in clinical research, you have to obtain approvals from IRB IEC, that is Institutional Review Board or Institutional Ethics Committee, IEC. And there could be some other such regulatory authorities also. Along with that regulatory compliance, what it means is that we have a different kind of constitution. As in clinical research, we have ICH-GCP guidelines, declaration which are based upon the Declaration of Helsinki, etc. So you have to be willing to follow all of these guidelines. These are just ICH-GCP, that is good clinical practice guidelines, which you might have learned if you are in third year of PharmD. Okay, so these are just certain guidelines that you have to follow. They are mainly about patient safety, and they mainly revolve around the participant safety. So next we have participant recruitment, screening and enrolling eligible participants into clinical trials, explaining study protocols, obtaining informed consent and maintaining participant confidentiality. So screening and enrolling eligible participants into clinical trial, that means in the protocol there would also be mentioned about inclusion and exclusion criteria. So for example, if there are 5,000 participants who have come up to be enrolled in your clinical clinical trial. Out of these 5,000, how would you screen or how would you filter out, how would you include or exclude certain participants? That is what comes in here. Next is explaining study protocol, that is you have to explain each and every participant who you have selected to participate in the clinical trial, about the protocol, about the type of sample that will be collected, what time, etc., all of it. And also what kind of compensations would be provided to each and every participant, what time they can withdraw, etc. Next we have obtaining informed consent. Informed consent means once you have informed the participant about you have given the participant the participant information sheet, which gives all of the details the participant needs to know about the clinical trial, along with the various numbers of the medical expertise of the number of the investigator, etc. Then you have to obtain an informed consent, that is the participant will sign. Basically it's a form which says I have understood each and everything that has been told to me. I understood each and every aspect of the clinical trial and I am willing to participate in this clinical trial. So the participant has to sign. If the participant can't sign, then a legal representative can sign, or a witness can also sign. So that is informed consent form. And maintaining participant confidentiality. Next, your role would be medication management, overseeing medication dispensing, administration and accountability within the research setting, including ensuring proper blinding and randomization procedure. So I think first part was pretty much obvious, that is medication dispensing, administration and accountability would be upon you. Now what blinding means is that, for example, there is single blinding, double blinding. Also, for single blinding means if I am the participant, I don't know what drug is being administered to me, but if you are the investigator, then you know what drug is being administered to me. Double blind means I also don't know what drug I am taking, you also don't know what drug I am taking, or whether it is a drug or whether it is a placebo, etc. Triple blinding means I don't know what drug I have taken, whether it was a drug or placebo, you also don't know whether you gave me drug or placebo, and the person who is analyzing the results, they also don't know whether they are analyzing a drug or a placebo's result. Okay, that is blinding. Randomization procedure, it is most crucial, I guess. Randomization procedure means it is a way to reduce bias. Randomization means if there are for example 500 participants, okay, and you have to create two groups. One group gets the placebo, that is the dummy drug, and the other group gets the actual drug, actual drug molecule which is being investigated. So how you would put which participant in which participant in which group, that is known as randomization. Okay, you can select, okay, this is healthy participant, so I'll put it in the drug molecule group. This is non-healthy participant, so I'll put it in the a placebo group. That cannot be done because it will lead to study bias. Okay, so randomization, there are so many methods of randomization such as snowballing, etc. So that you will have to employ. Next, we have data collection and analysis, collecting and documenting study data accurately, conducting data analysis and interpreting results to assess the medication safety and efficacy. I've talked about this when I talked about scope of PharmD as a biostatistician. So make sure that you have checked that video out. Okay, next we have adverse event monitoring. Monitoring participants for adverse drug reactions and reporting adverse events to regulatory authorities and study sponsors as required. Okay, each and every participant has to be monitored for adverse drug reaction. Okay, what would be your protocol or SOP that you will follow, that is procedure you will follow when you have seen an adverse drug reaction. Then there are also different scales for adverse drug reactions, so you have to categorize them according to it and report to the regulatory authority, IRB, IC, sponsor, investigator, all of them. Then we have protocol adherence, ensuring adherence to study protocol and good clinical practice, that is GCP guidelines throughout the research. Next we have quality insurance, implementing quality insurance measures to maintain data integrity, protocol compliance, and including site monitoring and audits. There would be interim audits or monitoring that would be done. Auditing, I think you guys know what it means. During the clinical trial, before, during and after the clinical trial, at any point of time, monitors and auditors, they can come to monitor the clinical trial, whether it is being conducted according to the protocol, whether the patient safety and ethics are being respected or not, etc. So these are all the roles and responsibilities that you might have as a clinical research, as a PharmD graduate working in clinical research organization, that is CRO. It's not at all necessary that you will have all of these. You might have some of these or one of these. Okay, now let me summarize it. Okay, so roles and responsibilities, we have first study design, then we have regulatory compliance, participant recruitment, medication management, data collection and analysis, adverse event monitoring, protocol adherence and quality assurance. Now we would be moving on to essential skills that you would require as a clinical pharmacist working in a CRO. It's getting more and more warmer, so I had to tie up my hair. Okay, next we have essential skills, pharmacotherapy knowledge, in-depth understanding of pharmacology, pharmacokinetics, drug interactions to assess the potential risk and benefits of medications in clinical trial. Whenever there is a new molecule that is being examined in a clinical trial, there can always obviously be side effects or adverse reactions associated with it. So if you know how different drug classes work, what are the mechanisms of action, what are the pharmacokinetics and dynamics of the drug molecule that is being investigated at your clinical trial site, and the potential drug interactions. Now drug interactions, they can be drug interaction, drug food interactions, drug environment interaction and drug disease interaction. So you should be having a knowledge of it. Next we have regulatory knowledge, familiarity with the regulatory requirements and guidelines governing clinical research, including FDA regulations and ICH-GCP guidelines. This I already told above in roles and responsibilities. Attention to detail, this is extremely important in a clinical trial, okay, because what happens in clinical trial is that once you have submitted a protocol, you have to work according to it. If there is any kind of deviation in the protocol, it might be said that you have violated your study. Okay, so that is the reason that you should have extremely minute attention to minute details also. And what happens is that if there is a mistake made, okay, for example, there is a new software that I have tried for the first time in this clinical trial, and for example, when I just tried it for the first time as a demo just to learn it, I entered XYZ data. Now what happened is that because I'm unfamiliar with this kind of system, the XYZ data, it got repetitively uploaded just at one time. Okay, I entered it one time and in that one time it got repeatedly uploaded. Now it might be seen as a violation, so what I'll do is that I'll add a note saying that I know this is an error, this was me at this time, at this date, my name, then at this time, this date, trying to upload a data, and because I'm not familiar with this system, that's why it got uploaded so many times. Okay, so you can always when you mention that it is an error that you have recognized while you have made that error, just after you have made it, then it is no problem to the ethics committee at all. But if you don't have, but you haven't written then, and then when the monitors or the audit come for auditing and monitoring of the clinical trial, and if they see that there is a deviation to the protocol and it has not been recognized, then it would be a huge problem. But if you have already written that yes, this is an error made by me at this time, at this date, and I know that it is an error, it happened because of this and this reason, they won't ask you even a single question. Okay, so that is the reason attention to minute detail is extremely important. Next we have communication, effective communication skills to collaborate with the that was a rickshaw. Communication, effective communication skills to collaborate with the study team members, investigators, sponsors and study participants. No one's ego should be hurt. Rickshaws want to be auditing in Doom 4 or 5 or what? Okay, next we have problem solving. Ability to understand and address challenges that arise during the conduct of clinical trials, such as recruitment difficulties or protocol deviations. So how you would, because there are so many aspects in a clinical trial, okay. For example, this was an example given by one of our teachers, okay. There was a clinical trial in which there's a clinical trial in which I have to put ABC drug in a fridge and I have to monitor the temperature constantly, okay. The temperature should not, let's say, fall below -4 degrees. Just for an example, okay, it's a vaccine, okay, it's a vaccine. So it's a vaccine and I have to monitor the temperature continuously, and the temperature cannot go below -4 degree. Now what would I do? Generally what we'll think is that we would put it in a fridge, and at the top of the fridge there would be a thermometer, and it will tell us about the, what do I say? It will tell us about the temperature which is inside the fridge, okay. But what happens when you open the fridge, close the fridge, or but the thermometer is above the fridge, so it cannot exactly monitor what is the temperature of fridge at the bottom of the fridge. At the bottom of the fridge and in the top of the fridge, again there can be temperature variation because there is circular motion of air, something like that in fridge, right? So that we cannot monitor. So what you would be doing in this case is that, whenever we go to bakery, there is this transparent shelves that are put upon which the cakes, pastries, etc. are put. So sir told us that what they did is that instead of putting it in a fridge, what they did is that they manufactured such kind of shelves which are used in bakery, but they were able to withstand -4 degree centigrade temperature, and then they put the thermometer inside it, so you can constantly see the temperature. There won't also be much variations in it because the length of it is small. So such problem solving capability you should be having. Next we have ethical conduct. Ethical conduct, a commitment to upholding ethical standards in research conduct, including protecting the participants' right and welfare. Next we have project management, organizational and time management skills to coordinate study activities, meet deadlines and ensure smooth study operations. Continuous learning, eagerness to stay updated, and developments in clinical research methodologies, therapeutic areas and regulatory requirement. So these are all the skills that you would require. Let me revise them once. So first we have pharmacotherapy knowledge, regulatory knowledge, attention to detail, communication, problem solving, ethical conduct, project management and continuous learning. Now we would move on to recruiters and then the salary range. I think I need to change the position now. No, this is not good. Let's make do with this one only for some time. Okay, so in recruiters we have pharmaceutical companies, contract research organizations, that is CROs, academic institutions, government agencies. So we have government agencies, academic institutions, contract research organizations and pharmaceutical companies who might want to hire you. Work profile, it would look as this. You can be clinical research coordinator, assisting in the planning, implementation and management of clinical trials, pharmacovigilance associate, monitoring and reporting adverse drug reactions, clinical data management, collecting, cleaning, analyzing clinical trial data, regulatory affairs specialist, ensuring compliance with the regulatory requirements for the clinical trials. And the fifth one is as medical writer, preparing scientific documents such as protocols, study reports and regulatory submissions, etc. Next we have salary. Entry-level positions such as in clinical research associate, pharmacovigilance associate, it may start with 3 to 5 lakhs per annum. Mid-level positions, that is clinical trial management, regulatory affairs specialist, may start from 6 to 10 lakhs per annum. And experienced professionals in managerial roles or with advanced degree and certificates, they can earn upwards of 10 lakhs per annum or more, depending upon their expertise and organization they work for. If it's a government organization, if it is a CRO, awesome base pay range, okay. If it is an academic institution, that is if you want to teach, then you know the salary of teachers. Regulatory affairs specialist, again you can earn very nice amount. So this is it for clinical research, scope of PharmD in clinical research. I really hope that you guys came to know something about clinical research and about what kind of roles and responsibilities you might be having, what your typical day at work might look like. So if you guys have any question regarding to this or any other scopes of PharmD or just regarding to PharmD, let me know in the comment section below. Check out the other videos of this series, that is scope of PharmD. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe, share my videos as much as you can. And please, I told you this in the last video also, if you can, kindly put my video on loop. We really need so many more watch hours, okay? So yeah, that's it. Bye bye. It was good to see you. This angle is so good. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I have been trying to set up since so long now, and I love this. Oh my god. This angle is good. I like it. I like it. Just if my height was a bit more.